Hey kids, so haven't done a solo talk for a long time, and Kobe reminded me of that on my way out the door today. So kind of at his request, I'm doing another solo one. And I was starting to drive home from work, and I was actually listening to a podcast, just trying to learn more. And then I got to thinking, it's like, you know what, today was a day off for schools and a lot of companies and stuff because it was considered a snow day. They called it a snow day last night, before any of the snow came. They said, all right, we're gonna close down all the schools tomorrow because we're supposed to get some snow. I looked at the weather forecast and it said it was supposed to snow originally from between 6 a.m. to about 11 a.m. and then it's supposed to turn to rain. So they called snow day. Now, we did end up getting some freezing rain, but nonetheless, I still went to work today. I probably had, my schedule was about half full because of people canceling because of the weather, and some of them, had to stay home because their kids were at home. And, it did kind of get me thinking that we seem to have an extremely fragile society nowadays. It ended up, we got like minimal snow today, just a bit of freezing rain. There might have been some snow up north, I don't know. And it's not just this. This is sort of an isolated incident, but it seems to happen a lot, that the way society is working right now is that, well, it's fragile. And I want to make the analogy maybe of exercise, of lifting a weight. And let's say you have a weight, you're lying on the bench, you're trying to do a bench press, and it's too heavy, right? The weight's just too heavy. And society these days seems to say, okay, well, listen, it's too heavy for you, so let's take the weight off and make it easy for you so that you can comfortably lift this bar. And there should be maybe an element that you don't want to push people too far. But that happens way too much. And really what society should be doing is saying, all right, well, the bar is too heavy for you right now, so let's back it off a little bit. And let's make you lift something that you can weigh, that you can lift multiple times. And let's make you lift it until you get comfortable with that. And then let's push your limits a little bit more and increase the weight a little bit. And we'll get you stronger and stronger. And gradually, through a few different things, we're going to essentially increase your weight, increase your repetitions, and we're going to make you more and more fit. So that weight that you originally could not lift, you're more than capable of lifting that now. Because we're going to stress your capacity so that you will adapt to a higher capacity and thereby increase your ability. Now, that's just using weights as an example. You could say the same thing for any exercise, but it should be that way for everything. Your communication skills, your emotional resilience, your ability to critically think. But that doesn't seem to be what's happening anymore. It seems to be that everybody wants to have a safe space so that they can feel comfortable and not ever be offended, not ever be triggered. And I'm almost wondering if that's the wrong definition of a safe space. In university, and also probably in high school, I remember having classes where I would probably take a different definition of a safe space. To me, a safe space should be, now I've also heard this said by somebody else recently. I want to say it might have been Brett Weinstein, it might have been Douglas Murray, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Point being is it wasn't really my idea. A safe space should be a place where we can come together and have a discussion where I can say what I think Now, what I think might offend somebody. What you think might offend me. But it should be a safe space where we can challenge each other with our ideas, and by speaking and verbalizing the thoughts that we have, that's a place where we can refine our thoughts, we can test and try to determine these thoughts, these ideas are good, these ideas are not so good, and this is why, and this is how we can come together now, challenge each other with our ideas, come to an understanding of each other's views, and maybe along the way I change my views because you've challenged me in a way that makes me think more clearly and more deeply about my ideas, and we can have a safe discussion which still is challenging and where we're allowed to offend each other in a constructive manner. And by doing so, we can all grow. Maybe you grow a little bit more, maybe I grow a little bit more, and we understand each other a little bit more. And people are, and that's the way in which we can actually progress our group dynamics, our class dynamics, our societal dynamics, as opposed to just trying to make what society's doing nowadays, everything in a way that nobody gets offended. Because when we do that, nobody can progress. Nobody gets challenged. And you have to be challenged, just like you have to exercise muscles to get stronger. Just like you have to exercise your brain to get stronger mentally and emotionally. And I guess I'm just saying it's kind of sad we have a snow day today for actually really no reason. Yeah. Be a little bit stronger. Don't be so fragile. Be anti-fragile. There's a really good book called Anti-Fragile. Haven't read that one for a bunch of years. I'll have to have another reread of that one. I can't remember the author's name, but look for a book called Anti-Fragile and read that. That's a good book. So think about that. Apply that. Most things in life apply, if they're good principles, they apply across the spectrum of both physical applications, mental applications, emotional, chemical applications. Kind of like, that makes me think of, particularly in the 80s, there was a really big kick on how bacteria causes diseases. And so everything became antibacterial. You had antibacterial soaps and everything. It was crazy. And so what you'd end up finding is the rich kids who had all of the antibacterial this, that, and everything else, they ended up getting sick a lot because their immune systems were never challenged. Where compare that to the regular kids who were all out eating dirt, and that would strengthen your immune system. And that was actually much better. If you live in a vacuum, then you end up becoming weak because we will always adapt. And so if you have nothing to stress you and nothing to challenge you, then you adapt to comfort, which then means you become weak. It's like if you don't exercise, if you're really, really strong and then you stop exercising, your muscles atrophy. You get weaker, the muscles get smaller. You adapt to the conditions in which you're in. And then you start training again and you get stronger again because you adapt. And so you have to also adapt by stressing yourself, by not living in a vacuum. You have to be exposed to bacteria and viruses to strengthen your immune system. Now, of course, that doesn't mean go, swim in a cesspool of bacteria and stuff, because too much stress can also be a bit of undoing. But a little bit of stress here and there can be really, really good. So think about that emotionally, chemically, physically, and apply that. Stress is not bad. That's what helps you grow and to develop. So anyways, that's your thoughts for the night, kids. Have a thanksy. Ask some questions if you have questions. And yeah, Let's go. Have a good night, y'all. Ciao.